Welcome to my Vintage Lady junk journal using a digital kit from Lala Chandra. I will put the information down below in the description box. For my junk journal, I have used a composition book. In England, we use it an exercise book. I have done a 5-hole pamphlet stitch and just run some ribbon round the outside edge. Let's have a little look inside. As we go through, I'll discuss how I've done this. Now, first exercise book that I've ever used, so it happens to have some lovely graph paper inside. So with my composition book, using some graph paper, I gutted the whole book, took it all out. Then I very carefully wanted to reinforce down the outer edge. So I go to a gym and we get a little band given to us, which happens to be Tyvek. So I'm well known, I go there quite regularly, so my band doesn't go on my wrist, it comes home to get used in my journals. Now, the front cover has come from a diary. I've just started getting a new book. It's called Daphne's Diary. It's widely available in the UK, but is beginning to be distributed in America or Canada. Yet again, I'll put the details down below, but it is issue number 7. And I did take, this is for my own personal use. I will be taking this away in January, off to a little trip down to the seaside, dare I say it. But this is my copy of Daphne's Diary that I have used, and I've used one of the inside pictures from the magazine. So let's take you a little bit further inside. So I have used some of the elements from the front cover from Daphne's Diary. I just fussy cutted around some flowers, and I've inked up and distressed around the outer edges. This is obviously, both pages are from the digital kit. Now I've made some pockets, and here I've made a little miniature mini folder. If I put the journal down, just take you a little flick through. Back in the day, I used to do some accounting, so whilst I was practicing, I actually made some entries into a ledger, and I've just enclosed some tea-dyed paper. And I've noticed some of you ladies have used staples, so this is for me, and I wanted something convenient so I can just quickly jot something down. Easy, simple, simply made. Step you back through. There are only 10 pages in this composition book. Because I gutted it, it's already beginning to get a little chunky, and my intention is to collect lots of postcards and ephemera whilst we're down. We're going to Bournemouth, we're going to a spa, so we're going to have a nice, lovely, long weekend break. Now, I have used from an old, I've got scrapbook paper that goes back years, so I've gone into my collection, so I apologise that I can't tell you who it's done. I think it's done by the Cane Company. I have taken this little biplane here. I did actually trace it off, and then I traced it back onto this corner of my composition book. I just thought it gave it that little extra. This is one of the pieces from the ephemera from the digital download. And so I have some tucks, some tags, lots of tea staining, or I've just distressed it using Tim Holtz Distress Ink Vintage Photo. Here we have, yet again, you do get little labels and tags. Part of an older paper line, I have to confess here, which I've just got some mild, it's not as dark as coffee, so some tea stained black, some white paper on the back. Let's take you a bit further. Here, ladies, I've made one of my own pockets here, just on a brown vanilla envelope, and done some stamping. This is one of the parts from the ephemera from the kit, along with this bookmark. Yet again, I traced off from this side this little design and just done it in archival ink and just did a little section over here. I thought it just gave that little extra to the pages. Yet again, we have another tuck spot or little photo area. And at one point I was doing a little bit of research on my great-grandfather, and as you can see, when I went into something, I got a little bit of a supplement from the London Gazette on white paper, photocopy paper, just distressed up, so it's plain, opens up. And obviously I could do a little bit more journaling on there if need be. Now, dare I say, I'm taking a little bit of inspiration from the innkeeper. I've noticed that she likes one particular rubber stamp that she does, and I've just found a little stamp of my own and started on the little plain areas to do a little bit of stamping. Part of a paper kit, a paper line, not part of this digital download. This is part of the digital download. We have two sections here. My printer was running out of ink, so it came out poor quality, so I backed it onto part of the ephemera. And yet again, so I know I've kept a little bit of the stamp, and yet again that's part of a download of this kit that didn't come out well, backed onto there. Just gives them, make them a little bit more robust. I've just done a little flap here on tea-dyed, just tea-dyed plain paper. Part of the kit, each one of these pages I have put like a little touch spot or a photo mat area. Now this journal measures 6 inches by 7.5. Now, a pin interest that I printed off, yet again on some tea stained paper. So part of the kit. Now part of the ephemera, these are just on a little brad here, so that can be moved backwards and forwards. Now this happens to be, I photocopied, I'm just having a look around me. This is a photograph that I got from a charity shop, and I've just done the photocopy of the back of the photo, just giving me a plain journaling area or somewhere I can put a photo, just with a little bit of, it's like a sepia, the little tag here, just something from the period piece. Yet again, predominantly another tuck. This was from a magazine which I tea stained, and then yet again very similar, more tea staining on the back. Now we have got part of the ephemera here. I've just taken this from a little bit of a pin interest here, The back paper here I inked up with dark black, and this is part of my own paper kit that I have here. As you can see, this is the centre signature, and I've just done a bow. I just used some brown baker's twine. In this tuck behind here, I have fussy cut a purse. This is my own ephemera. I've taken it from a handbag book and just cut it out. Like a little car. Yet again, I have collected over the years a few postcards that are vintage, and I have, this is just double-sided so it can be opened up and written on top of, but I've taken it yet again from a postcard which has this lovely lady on, and just copied that. I thought it went well with the blue, with the splatters on the actual kit. This is part of the kit, this is part of the kit. Some illusions on here. I may not this evening get a glittery effect, and I've just taken a punch here and done these leaves, and I've actually stuck part of my ephemera behind, just in the corners, just part where the photocopying didn't come out so well. So we've got a nice pocket here and a little tuck spot there, and then this lovely glamorous lady. She happens to be a tuck spot, and yet again there is a place here for a tag to go in, a bookmark really, because of the length of it. Both pages here are left as is from the paper line, and yet again a little bit of my ledger paper. I've got a small fabric heart here, and dare I say it, just a little Papermania flower with my first little bit of some threads here underneath. Yet again all tea dyed. The paper kit, just using the stamp that I featured throughout the book, but taking an element of the blue. Part of a handbag that I've taken from my novelty handbag book, which I felt went really quite well with the kit. Some tags here. This is part of the ephemera from the kit. I've backed it using a gold envelope that I received for Christmas. I fussy cut the perfume bottle and put it on to this tag, and that's another tea dyed, and then teeny, very small little tag, again just done gold on the back. Here I have taken some of card that I received some flowers from my daughter. Dare I say it, she brought me. So this is part of my junk. This is from Marks and Spencer's, the flower shop, and it's reasonable weight card, and I've just distressed it, ripped it, and literally used vintage photo around the outer edge. My mum brought me some coin envelopes here. I've taken part of the kit, stuck it down, made it into a little tuck spot. You can put something into the physical envelope, so I can place something inside, and I've glued the back completely shut. This is part of the ephemera from the kit, yet again part of the gold envelope. So I've distressed this all the way round, like so. Probably all got tea dyed backings. And dare I say it, I received this little envelope in the post from Tattered Rose, so I distressed it up. I thought that would be very nice to actually include this. just made like a little miniature belly band here. So this isn't part of the digital kit. This is from, like, we have a little kit in England, like I think it's called Do Crafts. So that's from there. I made my own little Dilutions flower here, cut it out with my Sizzix die, so added some threads and a button. Now, this is a little bit of a story. I made an error. I used some tacky glue, wonderful product, and I took some advice. I'd watered my product down, but because of my lack of quality of my photocopy paper isn't heavyweight, so it started to bring the colour up as I swished with the glue. So I done one side and got this effect, and I'm like, well, I'm going to have to do the other to make a matching pair. So it's like it's turned out a reddish marbling, and then I've just taken some distress ink and really grunged it up. I like the effect, but admittedly that was something for me to bear in mind for the future. And to the last page. Yet again, this is part of my own paper that I've got at home from my stash, really. I've cover this envelope with part of the ephemera, or part of because it's all French, and behind here I've just got journaling spot, it's all coming out now, more pieces of the paper line. I just basically things I've received in the post that I've just stained up and backed with a bit of my ledger paper, little parchment envelope, and 2 bookmarks from the paper line. And then the last page I've got here as a pocket, and I've just used my own personalised wooden stamp that I have here. Many moons ago I was able to get some stamps from the old newspaper company, so dare I say it, I thought she'd go very well, and used her and just backed it with some paper that I had from years ago, part of my stash. Well, thank you very much for bearing with me. I know it was a very long one, but very much appreciated. Bye bye.